Florida is staring at a serious warning sign. Tourism revenue is now projected to fall by as much as $64 billion. While the housing market is sitting on record levels of unsold homes. Nearly 180,000 properties are currently listed with no buyers. The contrast is hard to miss. Official messaging continues to highlight growth and success, yet behind the scenes, many homeowners are selling quietly and leaving the state altogether. This shift didn't happen by accident. It's the result of multiple economic and social pressures colliding at the same time. Before going further, it's important to clarify that this analysis reflects publicly available data and reports current as of early November, sourced from outlets such as major financial publications, housing analytics platforms, and Federal Reserve data. What follows is an interpretation of how these trends connect across Florida's economy. On paper, Florida's tourism sector still looks strong. State leadership recently celebrated record visitor numbers, announcing more than 34 million arrivals in a single quarter and calling it a historic achievement. But on the ground, the picture looks very different. Local business owners say revenues are down as much as 30% compared to last year. Many describe this season as the slowest since 2020. Those struggles rarely show up in headline statistics. Restaurant workers are being sent home early because foot traffic just isn't there. The slowdown is especially noticeable among international travelers, a group that has long played a critical role in Florida's economy. Canadian tourism, in particular, has taken a sharp hit. In just 1 year, visitor numbers dropped by nearly 100,000. That decline matters because millions of Canadians traditionally spend entire winters in Florida. These long-term visitors aren't quick tourists. They rent homes for months, shop locally, dine out regularly, and support entire communities during the slower seasons. That steady flow is now shrinking. Active listings remain elevated, even months later, with little sign of meaningful improvement. Homes are taking longer to sell. Developers and individual owners are cutting prices repeatedly, but buyers remain cautious. High mortgage rates and rising ownership costs are keeping many on the sidelines. Some analysts argue the market isn't collapsing, it's simply correcting from years of overpricing. One of the biggest pressures comes from the cost of owning property itself. Insurance premiums for a typical home have skyrocketed, jumping from a few $1,000s a year to well over $8,000 in some cases. Condo owners are facing sharply higher monthly fees following stricter safety regulations introduced after high-profile building failures. For retirees and fixed-income residents, these costs are becoming impossible to manage. In coastal areas, repeated flooding has added another layer of stress. Some homeowners report being financially unable to repair damage, forcing them to sell or abandon their properties entirely. This growing gap between optimistic statistics and everyday reality isn't driven by normal market cycles alone. It reflects a broader political, social, and economic environment that's rapidly changing. That brings us to a major factor behind the decline in international tourism: perception. Over the past few years, political rhetoric and policy decisions have shaped how the United States, and Florida in particular, are viewed abroad. Statements made by senior officials gained global attention and sparked backlash across Europe and beyond, damaging the country's image as a welcoming destination. These reactions didn't stay confined to headlines. Travelers began changing plans. Some openly canceled trips, saying the atmosphere felt uninviting or hostile. The effect spread even further as tensions with Canada increased. Comments suggesting foreign tourists should financially support Florida while locals pay less in taxes were widely seen as dismissive and disrespectful. Online responses were swift. Many Canadians expressed discomfort spending money in a place where they felt unwanted. Reports of unfriendly encounters only added to the sentiment. Eventually, several governments issued travel advisories urging caution when visiting the United States, citing concerns over detentions and immigration enforcement. Practical barriers also piled up. Visa delays grew longer. A strong US dollar made trips more expensive. Stricter border policies pushed travelers toward alternative destinations like Mexico or parts of Europe. What began as political messaging evolved into tangible economic consequences. The result is a dual slowdown in both tourism and real estate, creating ripple effects across Florida's entire economy. Tens of thousands of jobs in hospitality and food services have already disappeared. The result is a dual slowdown in both tourism and real estate, creating ripple effects across Florida's entire economy. Tens of thousands of jobs in hospitality and food services have already disappeared. Visitor numbers through major airports are declining. Tourism analysts now estimate potential losses reaching tens of billions of dollars within a single year. Part of the issue lies in how tourism data is measured. Short visits are often counted the same as long stays, even though long-term visitors contribute far more to the economy. A single winter household from Canada can spend tens of thousands of dollars, equivalent to the spending of dozens of short-term domestic visitors. Replacing that level of economic impact simply isn't realistic. Housing data shows similar stress spreading across major metro areas. Inventories are rising. Price cuts are becoming more common. Some cities are already seeing noticeable drops in home values. While new legislation may ease certain pressures, it doesn't address the deeper issue of perception and long-term confidence. In the end, Florida faces a larger question. Is this downturn temporary, or does it signal a deeper structural shift? What's happening here highlights how fragile a highly dependent economy can be. And in that sense, Florida may not be an outlier, but an early warning for the rest of the country.